Thanks for staying with us. I'm Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster here in the Highland Lakes, joined with Art Dlugach, the voice of the Llano Yellow Jackets. We have already covered all three 11-man football teams in the Highland Lakes. Llano was in segment 1. We covered the Burnett-Marble Falls Showdown in segment 2. Now we're going to talk about the two 6-man teams located in Burnett County. We're going to start with Faith Academy because they opened district play last week, traveling in a rematch with Waco Live Oak, and the Flames were victorious. They won big, 54-36 on the road in a rematch of one of the state championship games that was played for TAPS in TAPS competition back in December. Now, the big do-it-all player was not Cade Shaw this time. It was Cross Sanchez. Cross had 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns, and 1 passing touchdown to lead the way. I give Stephen Shipley and Jay Silvers a ton of credit, and here's why. During the bye week last week, the Flames changed their defensive scheme, put in a brand new defense that they had not shown until Friday night at Waco. Then Stephen, as the offensive coordinator, decided to put both Cade and Cross, line them both up on the same side at receiver. And that forced the best cover guy for Waco Live Oak to have to pick which of the 2 players he was going to cover. He ended up picking Cade, which going into the game, don't blame him for doing that. Cade Shaw has been fantastic all season long, probably one of the better. He may be the offensive player of the year in that district at the end of the district campaign, though Waco Live Oak will probably vote for Cross after Friday night's game. At any rate, that allowed Cross to truly shine. And to his credit, he did fantastic. He let his play do a lot of the talking. If you know Cross, that's just exactly how he is. He took advantage of his opportunities. But the big thing that Stephen Shipley said that they really implemented is that they wanted the kids to start having a good time again. And that was one of the big talks that they had during the bye week, that they wanted to go out and have some fun. And they were having a great time on that field last week. So that to me was the big change with Faith Academy. They are at home this week against Round Rock Concordia, 7 o'clock kickoff at Britton Field. It is also homecoming at Faith Academy on Friday night. Smoking for Jesus played their final pre-district game at Kerrville Our Lady of the Hills. They won in a mercy rule, 45-0. Isaac Legger, the outstanding dual-threat quarterback for the Eagles. Here are his numbers. He completed 10 of 12 passes, 210 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had 2 rushes for 57 yards and 1 touchdown. So they are now going to host the next 3 district games are at home.
That's good.
And they are playing Austin St. Stephen's, the same team that beat Faith Academy in the season opener in late August. I thought Austin St. Stephen's was one of the best 6-man teams I'd seen all season, and that's because they could do everything. But their tendency and ability to score long touchdown passes on skinny posts, just running right up the middle where the quarterback throws to a spot. He doesn't even wait for the receiver to break. The receiver's en route. He launches it. The receiver is right there to catch it. Austin St. Stephen scored about 4 or 5 times that way against Faith Academy in the season opener back in August. I look for them to be just incredible against the Eagles. I'm curious to see what Boo Maxwell, the defensive coordinator, will come up with to slow St. Stephen's down.
That sounds like a big school for Smoking for Jesus to be playing.
Yeah, because St. Stephen's, remember, they had more than 30 players on their roster when they played Faith Academy, which is a huge number for a 6-man team.
Yes.
Their roster number rivals a lot of the 11-man rosters roster numbers that we get here in the Highland Lakes. They were an 11-man team and decided to go back to 6-man. And I want to say they did that within the last 2 or 3 years. It was a recent change for them. They are 3-3 on the season and 2-0 in district. So this will be an excellent matchup for the Eagles. I'm curious to see what they'll come up with. That was only their second win of the season. They beat Faith Academy in week 2 or 3. Can't remember now. Maybe it was week 2. They beat Faith Academy. The Eagles did. And picked up their second win in Kerrville on Friday.
Well, glad to hear the 6 men have won our local teams, and getting as the district is beginning, it's a good time to be winning.
Oh, you bet. There's no question. One of the best things about covering these 6-man teams, and they are now starting to look ahead. As we confirmed with Stephen Shipley last week, there are only 2 playoff spots available in that district. So with Faith being able to win on the road last week, that gives them an opportunity now to, I don't want to say look ahead, but they can sort of start charting where they're going to go. Now, he will tell you, while Waco Live Oak was a big game for them because they're the defending state champs, it doesn't get easier because Round Rock Christian may have one of the better rosters they've had for a while. Going into last week's game, I think they were 4-1. So Faith plays Round Rock Christian at the end of October. I think Halloween weekend, October 28th. That will be a huge game for them. And with only 2 playoff spots available, if Faith can take care of business between now and then, they may have wrapped up a playoff berth before they face Round Rock Christian. And Round Rock Christian may be playing Faith in trying to secure the other playoff berth from that district, since there are only 2 playoff bids up for grabs. I did talk to Charles Frazier. You had asked me last week about the playoffs. He actually sent me some information. So this is basically the way I understand it. Because they're in the Texas Association of Independent Athletic Organizations. It's a mouthful.
Very good.
There aren't that many members in that particular association. So while everyone is in district, they are playing for seeds. There aren't that many teams there. So in district play, you're playing for seeds, and then you are entered into a tournament bracket, single elimination. And once you know your place or your seed from your district, then you are lined up then and to know who you're going to play in the playoffs. And I believe you've got to win 3 playoff games in that association to win a state championship, is the way that I understand it from Coach Frazier. So there you go. Thanks, Coach, for getting me caught up on that. At least we know he watches the podcast. That's the only way he would have been able, because he's the one who reached out to me to give me that information. We appreciate you watching, Coach. Thank you for that. Well, that is all I have for this segment. Do you have anything you want to say in the next 2 minutes before we let everybody go back to their lives and get ready for Friday night?
Well, congratulations to the Longhorns and Quinn Ewers and Bijan Robinson and Coach Sarkeesian. Just an outstanding, unbelievable win, 49-0 over Oklahoma.
You're going to buy me some Bijan mustard. You know,
Okay.
We can find it. Because let me tell you, one of my favorite stories, I read this from Danny Davis. Art and I know Danny, he writes for the Statesman. Danny said that he was buying a corn dog and that he was standing near some Oklahoma Sooner fans. And his wife had gone over to get some mustard, the condiments. And they saw that there was some Bijan mustard available, and the husband told her, you can't get any of that. That one's off limits to you. So, big win for the Longhorns. Certainly happy about that, but we'll see what they do against Iowa State on Saturday.
Well, and we'll see what Oklahoma does against Kansas. Kansas was beaten by TCU, 38-31. TCU remains unbeaten.
Well, I do think Texas has harder games coming. So there you go, folks. Okay, once again, for all of your local sports news, please go to TexasChalkTalk.com. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share the channel. I'm Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster. For Art Dlugach, we're saying so long and enjoy the games on Friday night. We'll catch you next time.